Good morning, Lawn Pro Radio. Wayne Bowe's Profits Unlimited coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky. Kind of drippy here this morning. And oh my goodness, I got a story to share about that with you guys today. So appreciate you guys being with us. Doug, good morning, man. Hope everything's going good for you guys up in Pennsylvania. We're going to talk a little bit about weather here, but before we get into that, I want to give Hecapus a big shout out this morning. As always, getting us rocking and rolling this morning and talking about the art of war and how that relates to your business. And basically, picking your battles. You know that's what that boils into. So Doug has got some good sun going on up there. Yes, indeedy. Good deal. He just sent me a text, and they're out digging a little bit, putting in a 20 by 22 deck and a nice sized little patio. So, Doug, good deal, man. And all that's some good work, good money, and all's good. Uh, Before and afters. Yeah, Katie said be sure to get your before and afters and utilize those, right, Katie? All right, good deal, good deal. So yeah, that's going to be a nice little project, man. So yeah, be sure to keep us updated on those. So glad to have you with us, Doug, and everybody else hopping in with us, and we certainly appreciate that. Seth, appreciate you being with us, and yes, indeedy, glad you're here. Beautiful morning to be looking down on some dewy crabgrass. Oh my, yeah, we just had pretty good thunderstorm roll through here. Matter of fact, one of the southern Indiana schools, Kyle was just telling me they actually called off school due to some flash flooding. So that was a bad timing on that. Just trying to get started. I'm sure buses were out and some kids were out. Lord, anyways, it is what it is. We talk about it all the time. We're going to talk about it a little more today on something that we did. Hecapus says they got a beautiful day going there, so that's awesome. So glad it's been really warm here. It's going to get hot again here today. I just got another notification from BAM that they're going to do uh, yeah, yeah. Goodness gracious, another involving severe weather event. So I tell you what, it's been quite the season to say the least, and hopefully you guys haven't been as crazy as it has been here. Seth, good job. Said he says I'll be done mowing for the week before lunch. Good deal, man. We would have too, man. I mean, that was the plan. That was the plan here, man. WLS was going to have their mowing done. I think we're down to like 13 properties or something, and we'd be done for the week on our mowing. But Mother Nature had different plans for that. But anyways, hope your week's going well. Monday, Tuesday went well here. Wednesday, I mean, it'll go well here. We're just kind of stuck with the weather. So, Seth, hopefully it doesn't come down your way, and Mike, and get y'all messed up. I'm sure our buddy in Central Kentucky, Joe, Smoking Joe, man, I'm sure he's hollering about the rain again too. They've had it pretty crazy too. So we're going to have, and I'll read something from BAM here in a little bit for you guys. But yeah, Hecapus, great show on your show today. Daniel was talking about circadian rhythm and the power of a routine within your life, and how that all works. So check those out if you didn't get to listen to them live, and you're just now hopping in for the morning. We it's good deal, Mike. Mike said it's going to be a hot day, storms later, but he's choosing to see the positives in the day. Absolutely. I mean, that's what we might as well do, right? Can't do anything else about it. So, it is what it is. So, um, dang, that's a nice picture. Yeah. So that's what it's going to be when it's all said and done. So, appreciate you sending that, Doug. Doug sent us a picture of what the after is supposed to look like, and they're just now on the dig. So, um, keep up the good work, everybody. So your all's week's going good. That's all that's important. Hey, we take the little battles. Hecapus was talking about, the art of war, and you got to pick your battles. And hey, no sense making weather one of the battles because you've got no control over it. I mean, just you just go with it. And I got up this morning, man, and I knew what it was going to be like, because I just looked at my BAM forecast last night for the morning. So I got up about 20 after 5, I guess it was this morning, and the weather is just east of us by about 10, 12 miles, and I I had turned on our local TV and I'm watching it, and they're saying, yeah, it might back up a little bit, but we should be pretty good, blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness. I should know better. But anyway, it was more convenient than, I didn't want to hop onto my phone and get in touch with Bam this morning. But yeah, let it roll off your back, Seth. That's true, man. So, anyways, I'll tell a little more story on myself. I think you guys will appreciate the story because it's a true story. Number one, and number two is, I'm just we're all guilty. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm guilty of doing some things that I probably shouldn't have done because it felt like is the right thing to do, and I'm going to talk about that as far as it goes in business. But yeah, that's it. So glad to see you guys are well underway today, and we'll get underway again tomorrow here at WLS. And it's not like we're calling it a day, but we're calling it a day. I mean, the area that we got to do some mowing in had about 2.5, 3 inches of rain, and actually got us under. We had some flooding going on in that area of Louisville, and so we're not going out. We're not doing it. We're just not going to do it. And it's been quite the challenge. Been quite the challenge this year. So, but hey, just like I always say, if it was easy, everybody would do it. You know, that's really the way it is. Corey Morris up there, our buddy up there a little northeast of us. He said 4 a.m. here was the big old lightning show. Yeah, man, it did. It looked crazy. Looked crazy on the radar, man. And it is what it is. We just work with it. But Katie, don't forget to set your alarms for Katie's show tomorrow at 10 a.m. A cup with Katie. Yes, indeedy. And Corey said he messaged Bam this morning and made the call early. They're great. I love them too, Corey. I'll be sure to let them know through, because I know they listen to us sometimes as well, just for something to do in the background. Matt's told me they listen to us here on the radio. So, but yeah, Corey Morris, appreciate you, man. And if you guys are looking for a great weather source, those are guys, do it. And again, I got a story I'm going to tell on myself with that. But set your alarm for 10 a.m. tomorrow. Cup with Katie. She's going to have a great show for you guys, as always, and gals. For our new listeners that are out there, that when I say guys, that's just everybody. It's just, I don't know if it's a Kentucky thing or a Wayne thing, but it's not gender specific. The reality of it. So Katie will be on tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So put that alarm in your phone. Katie told me a funny joke this morning already that I was going to share with you guys. So, and I know somebody will get it because Daniel will probably get it. I don't know if he heard it or not. She told me why he was doing his show, but you logical thinkers will certainly get this. But and here's the joke. Here's the joke. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a short break, and we'll be right back with more profit time. And I'll tell you my joke right here on Lawn Pro Radio. Don't you go anywhere. Again, appreciate each and every one of you guys listening and sharing our station with everybody. I mean, we're just here to when I say we're just here, not minimizing that at all. We're here to help, each and every company be better than they were the day before, and including ourselves here at Profits Unlimited and Wayne's Lawn Service. So, as always, we appreciate the feedback that you guys give us during our shows, all of our shows, whether it's Aaron Walls or Heckabus or myself or Daniel or Katie. And I mean, we got a great list of show hosts, and we're building constantly with that. Need to reach out to a couple other people, or have reached out actually. We'll see how that goes about getting on here and sharing their knowledge and education with everybody. And um, I think you will know these guys for sure. And looking forward to it. So, but with that being said, I got my joke that Katie told me, and here it is. It says, "What did one nut say to the other nut when it was chasing him?" What did one nut say to the other nut when it was chasing him? So while you guys are thinking about that, I'll move along for a second and see what you got, what your responses are on that. So, what did one nut say to the other nut when it was chasing him, or chasing the other nut? Okay, so the visual is a nut running, another nut chasing him, and what did the nut behind him say, basically? So there you go. There it is. There it is. And I'm sure somebody will text us. And hey, if you guys are not on our on the Profit Circle viewing this with us, feel free to text me. Okay, you can reach me at 502 550 8307. That's 502 550 8307. Text me what you think the punchline is to that one, or any of you all, any of you guys that are listening. Absolutely give us your input on that, because I know you guys are pretty good at picking these things out. So, but I did want to share something with you too that happened yesterday. Had a gentleman, Moss Clore, came by our office, stopped by. He's a guy that does some lawn and landscape mowing and whatnot here in our market, and Moss actually was a client of Profits Unlimited several years ago. Yeah, when he got into the business, I guess he's probably 20 plus years in now. And he stopped by. He actually retired. He was a firefighter. He retired from that position, and I think he told me 2022. And now he's working with one of the local wrecker companies now, uh, just being feet in the street, promoting their wrecker services that they have. And he's like, "Man, I'm going to stop in and see Wayne." And I was really glad he did. When he walked in, I recognized him. Honest to God, I could not remember his name, but anybody that knows me well enough knows that I have a trouble with names. I really do. That's probably one of my very most weak points is name remembering names of people. But I'm normally pretty daggone good in remembering names of people like that. Most times it's my kids or friends that I mess up. But anyways, yeah, it was good to see Moss, and he stopped by and he said, after we talked a few minutes and caught up a little bit on it, you know, um, he said, Wayne, he said, two things you really helped me with, and that was understanding um, proper insurance requirements, and then a little thing that really paid big dividends was including a return envelope with any invoicing or contracts, things like that I sent out. And keep in mind, I mean, he's not like going way back in time, but he's going back in time before he had all this digital way of doing all these things, and paying online and all these ways that we get paid now electronically. And I said, well, I appreciate you saying that. So but anyways, good to see you, Moss. And if you're listening, man, we appreciate it. I told him about Lawn Pro Radio, and there you go. So Mike Murphy got it right, Katie. Yes, Mike, very logical thinker, and all you guys are. See, I sat and thought about it 3 or 4 minutes, and I mean, I hate to throw myself under the bus, but I'm not good on thinking stuff like that out. Daniel's really good at it. Katie and Kyle are really good at it. But anyways, Mike said, yeah, he loves dad jokes. So I hear you. Maybe you've been in the dad joke book with those youngins you got. So I don't know, but that is a pretty good one. Um, Doug, Doug said, "Do we have any equip plans, Katie? We heard back from them yet? We will be out there on Podcast Row. They did give us some passes. Uh, we we got passes. We do not have a table or a booth at this point. So um, we're hoping they can squeeze us in somewhere. We'll see how that all plays out. So, but that's what our plan is. So we will be there without a doubt. And uh, Katie and Daniel will be doing their normal thing, uh, walking around, talking to people, interviewing people, doing all that. So looking forward to that. So yes, Doug said he'll be listening to you on the way to Georgia. Yeah, good deal. Georgia, is that Snow and Ice Management Association thing you were going to, Doug? I think that is what you were talking about going to. But regardless, we appreciate you having us turned on, and be sure, if you would, Doug, and all you guys, be sure to share. Be sure to share Lawn Pro Radio, and we've got some swag that'll be coming before too long with that. So yeah, so yeah, he's going to the Simon Leadership Forum down there. So have a safe trip and enjoy that trip, Doug. I'm sure there will be a lot of your peers down there. We're actually going to talk a little about snow today if we get that far along down the road. So that yeah, we are. So we're going to talk a little snow, but do want to remind everybody that next Thursday we're going to be in the Indianapolis area. It's Danville, Indiana, actually. Um, we're going to be up there with the Indiana Professional Lawn and Landscape Association. We're going to be doing a presentation on it's August 20th, and we've got a bidding and estimating presentation that we're doing from 10 to noon. So, but they've got a whole lot of other things going on. So we'd love to see you and come sit in on our presentation. But there's going to be a lot more educational things going on. So for you guys in Indiana, if you're planning on going, great. We'll see you there. If you don't know anything about it, now you do. You can reach out to the Indiana Professional Lawn and Landscape Association about getting signed up for that. They have a big field day and a full day of different classes and CEUs if you need CEUs, as well as they're going to have some irrigation training as well. And just going to be a great day. It always is. And so I'm looking forward to that. And getting up there again, like next Thursday, like I said, and then being there doing that live in person seminar. Daniel and I will be up there with Lawn Pro Radio. We're trying to trying to talk Katie into going with us, maybe. So she said you haven't even asked, but well, there's my first ask. So there, it's a subtle ask. So, but yeah, they were telling me I spoke with them Monday, and they evidently have a really nice turnout. They said normally around 400 or 500 people show up for that. So, again, if you're interested in it and would want to make the drive, Indiana Professional Lawn and Landscape Association. You can look them up on their website and get registered for that event. Like I said, it's in Danville, Indiana. Literally right there in Indianapolis, but it's on the west side. So, anyways, not a bad trip. Not a bad trip. So, love to see you guys up there. So, got a good story of the day, and it does kind of revolve around weather, if you will. Told you guys I would save this, and I do want to talk about it a little bit because, you hear Brett and Matt on here with Bam Weather and all, and I tell you how much I love them and how much they help us make great decisions and that whole thing, and they do, and they did today. But today was one of those for us right here in our market, okay, right here in Louisville. And this could be any market in the country, where there's always that fine line of demarcation of, okay, how far is it going to rain or how far is it going to go? And, that whole thing. And so this morning, I get this thing from BAM, I asked him, I said, hey, what do y'all think about the rain? And this morning. And oh my goodness. So Jake sent me a response, man, and he's like, "Okay, Wayne," he said, "you can. I'm gonna read it to you, okay, and you guys tell me what you think. You can expect rain to linger through at least 2 p.m. I do believe you can get a dry slot between 2 and 7 if you want to get any work done before an additional risk of storms pushes in after 7, between 7 and 10." He said, but between now and 2 p.m., training thunderstorms will allow for rainfall totals of 1 to 3 inches and lightning. Between 7 and 10, storms will be capable of damaging winds, isolated tornadoes, and additional rainfall of 1 to 2 inches. All right. So basically, they're saying, hey, man, you're going to have off and on rain pretty steady through 2 p.m. That's my key takeaway of what decision I was trying to make. All right. Good, solid advice from a business partner of ours here at Wayne's Lawn Service, Profits Unlimited, BAM Weather, giving us solid advice again. But Wayne decided to look at the radar and see that this rain was just east of us, okay? And I thought, oh, what am I going to do? First of all, what would y'all have done with a forecast like that? Probably, probably different decisions. I don't know. But the decision I did make, was watching that radar. I thought, man, it's a little east of us. Maybe it'll stay a little east of us and give us time to go get this cleanup in that I wanted to try to get done. So thank goodness we didn't, the decision wasn't made to between operations, Matt, and I'm not throwing Matt under the bus because I did, get his opinion too. But I thought, man, if we could get this in, it'd be real cool because the job was on the west side of Louisville, if you will. Okay. And the rain was east, but backing up a little bit. So I thought, okay, we're going away from the weather and let's see if we can do it. So the good part of it is this. Here's the good part of it. Seth, I'm going by what you told Mike earlier, man. Hey, look at the good side. Look at the good side. So my good side of this was let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can get it in, right? So that was not the good side really, but that was what I thought was the good side. The other good side of it was simply we didn't call everybody in. We just had 2 crews report, 2 landscape crews. So we had five people, 5 or 6 people that we called in and said, hey, man, we're going to try to get this job done. So boom, they get here. They're organized quickly. They no sooner than they pull off of our property, we see a bolt of lightning. And that's the way it worked. Yeah, we get it. We see a bolt of lightning. I'm like, oh, God, you're kidding. And then we hear some thunder. And then I'm thinking, well, BAM was probably right. See, there we go again, right? So anyway, we did. So then what we did was call them back. Said, hey, we got obviously, hey, we got a storm generating on top of us, like we were told was going to be happening, right, by BAM. That just lingering, as the morning went along. through about 2 p.m. this afternoon. So, long story short, we got 2 crews in, we got 2 crews out. It's kind of like put your left foot in, put your left foot out. All right. So, and they're gone for briefly. We call them back. They come back. They get unloaded. By this time, it's raining pretty steadily. And we're like, now watch, as soon as they get back and unload, it's going to stop raining. Well, it did stop raining, but it's still raining a little bit out there now, but not nearly as hard as it was. But here's my whole point of sharing this story. My ego this morning got in the way of a sound business decision that should have been made. And when I say my ego, I guess it's my ego. I don't know. I was trying to be smarter than the weather source, BAM, that we pay to give us solid weather advice so we don't waste money like we did this morning. That was the reality of it. The time to organize. It, like I said, wasn't a big full blown. Okay, let's go. We're going to spray. We're going to mow. We're going to do some landscape. But so what's that cost us? Well, that cost us half day for our hourly people. Because we asked them to come in. They came in. We asked them to go do some work. They tried to do the work. They came back. Just because their punch in time was an hour, let's say, I don't know what it was. I'm not going to do that to somebody. Hey, they made the effort to get here. They got here when they were asked to be here because we did have a little bit of a late start. So about an hour late start. And so it cost us a half a day pay. Or didn't have to, but that's the right thing to do. Or that's the right thing in my mind. I don't know how you guys handle it. I'd be curious how y'all handle it. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to know how you handle it. How do you handle a situation like that within your own business? But for me, I'm gonna let a guy know that we appreciate that the effort was made to come in and get the job done, you know, as they were asked to do. So this whole thing really goes back to, the cost of trying to do the right thing for a customer end up costing um, where we didn't get to do anything. Doug said, and Doug, that's very, very similar to what we generally do. Absolutely. Doug says they pay 2.5 hours on rain days that they come in, 4 hours on snow. So, yeah, sometimes you have a bust. But on the other hand, what we have to remember as owners is just because we have a bust, we made the decision to try to make it not a bust. And you can't expect a person to drive to work, organize, go out and come back in 30 minutes or less than an hour and say, okay, well, hey, for all that time and effort you just gave us this morning, it's clock time only. So if you don't have something in place, and I know some states require through their labor and hour board, some states do require a minimum call in time, they call it. You ever heard of that, Daniel?
No.
Yeah, they really do. I know New York specifically, I believe it is, and New Jersey. Um, I was reading an article on that. That that's part of not just in the service related industry. It could be any industry. You call somebody into work and they show up, but you send them home because of lack of work. There's a mandatory certain number of hours that they have to be compensated for. So if you guys don't know, it'd be really smart to check in with the state that you're listening to us in and see what type of labor laws that may surround that for you guys. But we always are more than fair on, or we feel like it's more than fair. We've never had anybody complain about getting time for work that wasn't done, and hey, saying, hey, we'll give you 3 hours or whatever, for your show up, because it does. Doug said he thinks Michigan has 3 hours, and I think it's very similar in New York. or New Jersey, and a lot of states. So you guys that are listening to us, um, I would have done a little more research on my content on this, but I wanted to talk about it today since it just happened, an hour before we came on with my show today. So I think it's very important that in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the law or if it's just the right thing to do, sometimes you got to do it just because it's the right thing to do. We talk about customer loyalty and client loyalty and employee loyalty. It's what are you doing different than the average bear? Well, or what if you have somebody come back twice? You know, we normally make sure that if we get stopped because of weather, or whatever it may be. And we say, hey, we'll try in a couple hours. Hey, but we make that decision based on what we get from BAM weather. So, um, but I wanted to share today's story with you guys that even though we had a business partner, meaning BAM, that gives us solid advice, we decided to try something else because we thought, hey, it might work. So I'm not saying that it can't go either way, because it can. That weather could have went either way. That, hey, we might have got that 2 hour window because it would have worked out fine. Because it was about a 9 hour bid project, so it wasn't a big deal. You know, so 5 guys, we thought, okay, if we can get a 2 hour window in here, we can get this job done, get it billed, the customer's happy, because it wasn't mowing, it was we were cutting hedges. It was cleanup work, no spraying, no roundup involved. There's rain again. So here's our lingering showers that BAM told us about. It's amazing how it's working out the way they said, and I was dumb enough not to listen. But anyways, I want to throw myself under that bus first. But hey, the whole point of it is, sometimes y'all have heard me say trust your gut. Well, I trusted my gut against a good, valid business partner's advice. So I don't know, Daniel. What's your opinion on that? It won't hurt my feelings if you throw me under the bus, because it could have went the other way.
Yeah. I think whenever you make a decision that you think is right and you can justify why you think that that's the right decision, I think that that's just being an owner. Like that's why that's the responsibility of it, right? Like you're not always going to make the right decision. And that's just the way that it is. When you have to make decisions, you're never going to make them all right.
And I really think that is the whole point of having this conversation this morning, here on our show, is that, to that point, that right or, we always talk about right or wrong, do something. Make a choice. Don't sit back and say, well, we should have done this, we should have done that. We make a decision. In business, it goes back to, and I don't know, I'm trying to pull in what you were talking about routine and, the power of a routine. But the routine needs to be also make a decision. Don't sit back and, damn it, we should have done that. Well, if you thought you really should have done it, you would have done it. Should have, would have, and could have are the three most likely things that will put you in a bad position. Should have, would have, and could have. And, I think that could be a decent little takeaway from this talk to this morning, is that should have, could have, and would have never accomplished anything. Okay. Now, what I accomplished today by making a bad decision was, number one, we made a decision and we stuck to it. Number two is we learned from the decision that, hey, we got some really good, solid advice from somebody that we trust, and we still decided to do something else. So maybe next time, does that influence our decision making? Which absolutely it will, But because we used to operate, and I used to think all the time about, well, go until you can't because you can't trust a forecast. Well, you can't trust a forecast maybe from local weather, but when you've got a source like we use, BAM Weather, you know, then absolutely give that a little more weight than the guy on your local weather channel trying to sell advertising, you know. But we will certainly move on. It's not the end of the world, but I did want to share that with you guys. You know, uh, Huckabee says always have conviction in your decision. Absolutely. You know, if you can't, you shouldn't do it. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Mike says, "Hey, man, learn from it and move on," and that's exactly it. And that's what we'll do. Nobody's going to be right all the time. You know, I'm not going to make all the right decisions. You're not going to make all the right decisions. None of us are going to make the right decisions. But sometimes when we got good, solid information in front of us, and we make a decision, otherwise, that's okay. I made a bad decision today. Okay, could have worked out to our advantage, but it didn't. But and we're not going to beat this horse any harder. But I just want the takeaway to be, hey, just do something. Just do something. Because if you don't make a decision, or whoever's responsible for that decision within your company, you don't allow them to make a decision and not be mad if it doesn't work out, I mean, our guys that came back, nobody was mad, you know, you know. I mean, that's just a reality of it. Yeah, they would like to have got, the hours in of that job and some other work that we could have got done potentially. But Mother Nature said, no, I don't think we're going to do that today. I'm going to rain a little more. You need a little more than that 18 inches I've given you in the last 2 months. So just the point is make the decision. So with that being said, we're going to take a short break. I wanted to talk a little bit about today also um, is about your suppliers and their accounting, if you will. And not throwing any of ours under the bus, just generally speaking about how you handle it. I was talking with Ben Briscoe over the weekend about this a little bit. He's always appreciate Ben's. We got to see Ben down at the lake, and he rode over and saw us and spent some time with us. And Ben was a equipment, but I talk about Ben a lot. He listens to our show quite a bit, but it got me thinking about suppliers that we may have, whether it's any mulch or salt or whatever it may be, lubrication products, right? Maybe it's Hecabus, with DGP. I mean, anybody that does anything for you that you're paying, other than your employees. So maybe it's your dumpster, maybe it's whatever it is. But the whole point of what I want to talk about is, are you keeping up with your invoices that they send you or their statements that they send you? Or do you just assume that everything's okay? You get a statement. No, well, that monthly statement is correct. Hopefully you're keeping up with things, because if you're not, it can get really problematic for you if you don't have that routine in place for your business. And Agabus this morning was talking about, and I'm really going down a steep road on this, Agabus, to make this connection. But the art of war and picking your battles within your business as well. This is certainly one of those battles that you need to make sure is being addressed within your company, and that is looking closely at your statements that you get or your monthly invoice from somebody that you're buying something from. Fill in the blank on what it is, no matter what it is. Because if you're not checking them, if you're not checking that statement against your payables or receipts that you've got, How do you know for sure what's been paid? And maybe, and you may have not have had this happen yet to you. Could, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But if you haven't, it will at some point. And especially as you've been around more years, or your company grows, and maybe it's got nothing to do with your company growing, but that just increases the opportunity for a mistake to be made with your suppliers the more you do. But are you checking those monthly statements? That what's on your account is either what you've purchased, or are you checking to see on invoicing that maybe you sent the payment in, but it's still showing up on an outstanding statement? And that was something that actually happened to us with one of our suppliers, and we called it, been working with it and on it with them. But if you're not checking and you're just paying that invoice out, and I know I can hear some of you guys thinking, man, that's the dumbest thing in the world. Who's going to pay something without something to match it up against a PO? But I mean, I know a lot of guys aren't using PO numbers yet, number one. Okay. Or maybe you've never used PO numbers with your suppliers. That's one way to create a check and balance within the system as well. Uh, but and it's purchase order numbers, what that stands for. Okay. And your supplier would know, hey, are y'all working on POs or not? That's something you generally set up with somebody. When you set up that account with them, is a PO required for somebody, a crew that comes in and wants to get mulch? Do we need to get a PO? So, purchase order. But the whole point of sharing this with you is that part of it's important, and we'll talk more in depth on that on a later show. But another thing I wanted to talk about, let me see what we got here. Doug says a PO. Let me hold on, Doug. Doug says POs were the biggest pain in the ass when I was at a township. And yeah, it can be problematic. It can be, and it certainly can be. But what I want the takeaway to be from this, I got him, little gnat. What I'd like the takeaway to be with this is just be sure that you're checking your statements against what's been paid and or what's been bought by you to make sure that the statement's right. Because like I said, we had one roll through that had almost one invoice on it was, almost $4,200 and some change, and a few other smaller invoices. Okay. So, and if we hadn't been looking at that and saying, well, damn it, you know what? That's awful owed. Let's see if it's really still outstanding. And if it is, let's see why we hadn't paid it or what the situation is with it. Or was it something that was paid that didn't get posted? And that this particular situation that I'm talking about, we and again, I'm not throwing the supplier under the bus. I'm not throwing our sales rep under the bus. I'm just saying things can happen on either end, right? I mean, hell, we had something come up. That was interesting. It's my sister Sherry texting in here.
All aboard.
But I lost my whole damn train of thought, Daniel. But we had just something happen where with them that we had 3 or 4 different things that had been paid. So I reached out to our sales rep. I said, hey, we're here. We got documentation on 3 or 4 items here that's on the statement that saying it's not been paid, but here's our paid. We did one of them online actually, and some of them, so we had the receipt from the online payment. That's why it's important to keep your receipts. I know this may sound like business 101, and it is business 101 because we've got some business 101 people that listen to us that are just getting started, and they need to understand the importance of of tracking all this? Well, Wayne, maybe they don't have accounts set up yet. Well, maybe not. But in the event you do get accounts set up with different people, then you need to know how to have this in order, so you know that you're not double paying something, or that something hadn't been skipped and not paid by you. Okay. You need to have a check and balance system with this. So in this particular case, our sales rep turned them in. The situation got pretty well corrected, but on our most recent statement, there was still an invoice sitting on there that the accounting department for them did not get taken off. That was part of the receipts that I'd given our sales rep. Okay. So I'm going through all this again just to give you a little bit of knowledge and education on it. But here's really what I'm telling the story for. Yeah, that was all important. Okay. But number one is, don't just pay the bill. That's number one. And I know some people do it. I know Wayne's done it in the past. But review what you've paid and review what you've purchased and make sure things align. Okay. Now, let's look at from a completely different perspective for a minute. And that is the sales reps trying to get you help from the accounting department. They're trying to get your statement balance corrected to where it's right. But then the accounting department is still having a hard time getting it right, even though we've submitted paid receipts for it. And to top it off, we had some finance charges put on for something that's already been paid. Now, in some worlds and sometime, this could get somebody upset enough to say, well, you know what, man, we've been trying to get this figured out for 3 months, and we're having, it's way, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to start buying from somebody else. So now you've got a salesman. And I thought of my dad in this situation, because my dad used to talk about this, and I want to share this with you guys. And then we'll connect the dots here in a few minutes. But the reality of it is, if we say, okay, forget it, man, we'll just start buying predominantly from another supplier, another vendor. Well, number one is, that problem can happen anywhere. That's number one. Number two is, our sales reps trying to help us, but the accounting office, who doesn't have any skin in the game other than they think they're doing their job. But okay, so we gave them the benefit of the doubt and said, here's paid receipts on what we've paid. Now it should be corrected and we move forward with a clean slate. But yeah, I want my finance charges removed without a doubt. And I want to, hey, let's clean it up and move forward. So my dad used to always say in his, because he was in sales, y'all have heard me talk about him a lot, but bad accounting can not only make you switch suppliers, the accounting office may or may not care, because they didn't put the time and effort into building the business and selling the job that the salesperson put into it, whether it's, mulch or chemicals or equipment. It doesn't matter what it is, right? They didn't have the time, they meaning the accounting, didn't have the time and effort into the what I'm trying to think of, the relationship, to create the relationship to make the sale, So they don't have nearly the concern, because they're getting paid their hourly rate or their salary to do their job. But a lot of times the salespeople are on some type of commission. Like my dad used to say, man, he said, we're out here trying to make a living on commission and draws and whatnot, and you guys can't get the billing right. And he used to always say, what he wanted, he said all companies, and when he got to be a trainer, he never got this accomplished, but he said he just wanted it to be where somebody in accounting should have to ride around with a salesperson for a week or two to see the process of building a relationship, closing the sale, delivering the products, and then the invoicing being right and making it a good overall experience with everybody involved. And you say, well, Wayne, that's fine, but I don't have an accounting department. I am the accounting department. I'm the accounting department. I'm sales department. I wear all the hats. Okay, let's look at it from that perspective as well. How does this translate into a smaller company as well? So let's just say you are a 1 or 2 truck operation out there, okay, and you wear all the hats. How does this translate to your company when you're the sales guy in the accounting department? You sold the job to the client. Is it getting billed on time? Is it getting billed properly? Or is your crew, let's flip it around a minute. Is your crew, and maybe it's multiple crews, and maybe it's one person helping or 2 people helping, or hey, 2 days a week you're not out on the production side, you're doing the business side of the business, and you've got a couple people out doing the work, and they're not having good communication with the customer, or oh god, here we got to go to her blankety blank's house, and they're just complaining about everything, or have you trained your crew how to deal with a customer that has a question? Maybe they walk up to them, not just about the job that they're doing as the crew in production, but hey, they walk up to you, and is this something you've role played and said, hey, well, if they have a question on billing, or they have a question on, hey, I'd like to get this work done, how do they respond to that? That's how this situation translates into your small company. And that same transition into a larger company. Yeah, Mike said, how about a question on a political party? Yeah. I mean, it's all relatable. So I'm using this example that we're currently going through with one of our suppliers to try to get an accounting issue squared away, when accounting obviously doesn't really care about what they're doing. I used to have that same frustration when I worked in corporate America with our accounting office, and I was in the financial aid office, because they couldn't get student loans checks posted properly sometimes, because we had different things that part of that money would be posted to, whether it was tuition account, a book account, personal funds account, a lot of different ways that money could get posted. And sometimes they wouldn't post it because they were trying to hurry to get done for the day. It wouldn't get posted right. Now, students coming in to see me and say, hey, I went down to get some books on my book. I don't have book money available, but I know I just signed over my student loan check, so I think my dad had the best idea, quite honestly. Salespeople at any level should take accounting around with them and let them ride. And accounting ain't going to want to do it because they're going to say, that's not my job. But maybe they would understand the job that the salesperson goes through. So maybe your crews will understand what you go through to make a sale to keep them busy. That, no, it's not Miss Smith being a blah, 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 or ABC companies, you just can't make them happy. Yeah, we all got those accounts we can't make happy. You fire those customers. That's part of the decision-making process. But also what it boils down to is you need to take a look at it and not initially just get mad at everybody, meaning the accounting department. Hey, maybe it's a mistake on your end. Hey, maybe it wasn't paid. But if it was, don't fire your supplier immediately over it. Give them an opportunity to get it corrected because they're the ones that have put the time in. Think of yourself. You're the one that puts the time in as the owner operator, doing and wearing all the hats. So give yourself the opportunity by explaining to your crews, hey, this is what we do in this situation. This is what we do in that situation. Know that, like I tell our guys all the time, our customers are all green. That's what our customers are. Our customers are all green, or hopefully that's what they translate into profit dollars. They We go out, we sell the work. You go out and you do the work. You can't do the work if we're not selling the work, and we can't sell the work if you're not doing the work. We are a team. We got to work together. So regardless if that's through an accounting function, a production function, it doesn't matter. We all got to understand that we're all on the same team trying to do the same job, and that job is simply doing the job right. If a customer has a problem, let's get it resolved. Let's get it resolved. Take the time. Don't just assume, because we know what the word assume does, but don't just assume that just because, hey, God, they sold this, man, this job's a pain in the butt to do, or this customer is a pain in the butt, or, and looking at it from the other side, why can't they get my billing right? Katie has to explain billing to people all the time. They get their, it happens more times than it should, and we know we're trying to do it and explain it to them before they ever engage with us. Hey, this is how we do our billing. You pay a flat rate, every month for service. Doesn't matter if there's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or whatever, but so you still got to be able to do that and explain that with confidence and explain that with somebody in a format that's not going to get them mad, not going to make them want to cancel. The same way we're not going to cancel with this supplier because we like the relationship we have with the sales rep. And they will get it right for us, I know. Okay? So don't throw somebody under the bus and kick them out the door just because you have a problem. Not that we've never done that, not that you will never do that, but be sure you give somebody a fair chance to get things right before you do that. So, with that being said, wow, there goes the train. Y'all might even heard it in the background. With that being said, as the sun tries to come out a little bit here in Louisville, Kentucky, dun, da, da, da. Oh, of course it is. 11 o'clock and all is well. Appreciate you guys. Hope y'all get a lot of work done today. Hope you make a good profit today, each and every day. But no, sometimes, hey, we do mess it up. Yes, indeedy. Fred says the sun's coming out where they're at too. So probably just fueling the atmosphere for another round. Like Bam says, we're going to have real through here. Hey, I'm not going to reiterate that whole thing, but you know what? The reality of it is I had a good source of information that gave me good, valuable information that I probably should have made another decision, but I made a different decision, and that's okay. But if you want good, reliable weather source information, check out BAM. They got a lot of different programs you can engage with them. And I'm telling y'all, if that isn't the best return on investment, if you utilize it the way it's supposed to be, which we do 99% of the time, it is certainly an outstanding return on investment for you. So reach out to those guys at BAM. It's BAMWX. That's simple, BAMWX.com. Reach out to those guys. Let them know you listen to us here on Profit Time on Lawn Pro Radio. And you got a coupon code you can use for 20% off whatever you do with them. And it's simply Wayne20. Wayne, all caps, WAYNE 20. Get 20% off and go from there and see if you don't think they're the best thing since sliced bread like we do. So with that being said, we're going to hop off here. You guys have a great day. Stay tuned to Lawn Pro Radio all day long. And remember, profit is not a dirty word. We'll see you next time.